In the past few days, I've analyzed Haitham's kit, artifacts and weapons choices on my channel. Today it will be the turn of some of his team options. Since team building is not easy to calculate and everything is subjected to change anyway, I will make more than one video on this topic. This means I will be able to focus more on certain kinds of options for each video. In this one, I will go in depth regarding his spread team options. First of all, as I've explained in the past few videos, Haitham is quite the energy-hungry character, as his elemental burst has a hefty 70 energy cost while also being a crucial part of his damage rotation, so if you want to enhance Haitham's damage you can't just ignore that. For this reason, spread-based teams should generally run 2 Dendro options at the very least, to compensate for the high energy requirements. In this regard, the best ally you can ask for is Nahida, whose elemental skill generates 3 particles every 8.25 seconds on average. Thanks to that, Haitham will be getting several direct particles from her during his rotations, allowing him to run at low ER requirements. Meanwhile, Dendro main character ranks lower even in the scenario he's using Favonius, as his battery can't compete with Nahida even in the scenario he's holding Favonius, and other options aren't exciting as well. In general, if you don't run Nahida with Haitham, the latter's ER requirements will be uncomfortable to manage, unless you're running 3 Dendro units on the team, which isn't a bad option as I'll show later. The benefits of using more than 1 Dendro unit on the team don't end there, as the Dendro resonance is also a pretty nice buff for the team. Compositions of this kind range from 2 Dendro with either 1 or 2 Electro, or 3 Dendro and 1 Electro. The comparison you can make here for this type of spread team is the more traditional aggravate team with 2 Electro units, 1 Anemo unit, and a Dendro unit. On Dendro-focused spread teams, you generally can't run the Anemo, as even if you wanted to in order to enhance the Electro's damage, the Electro application will constantly get eaten by all the Dendro application you get on the team, meaning it won't be easy for you to swirl Electro and hence reduce opponents' resistance shred. All in all, you lose the grouping from Anemo units, and a good chunk of the Electro unit's damage, while in return you gain some Dendro damage, which is not exactly a great outlook. As you could have understood from the explanation I gave earlier, Nahida is easily Haitham's best partner, but not only because of her battery. In fact, her off-field damage is quite solid while also having guaranteed AoE, she has great supportive capabilities thanks to his EM sharing passive, and she's possibly the most consistent character you could give the Deepwood set to, in order to apply consistent Dendro resistance shred. For the Electro applier role on the team, you have several options, the best ones being Fischl, Kuki, and Yahe. If you're running just 1 Electro unit on the team, Fischl and Kuki are preferable to Yahe in terms of Electro application, since they are more consistent in that regard, either through AoE effects or auto-tracking attacks. Meanwhile, Yahe's totems suffer from random targeting which could screw you over in AoE situation, ignoring some targets, meaning you wouldn't proc Quicken on them at all. Her burst is a good AoE hit, meaning she could apply Quicken AoE with that, but it's up in the air whether or not its expensive load in terms of seconds wasted is worth it, considering Electro damage is not that big on a team without an Anemo unit. For the flex slot, you can use a healer or a shielder, so somebody like Kuki or Dori, or a neutral character who wouldn't disrupt Quicken such as Zhongli. Zhongli is a nice option because he can also hold the Deepwood set, hence allowing both the Dendro options on team to use Gilded Dreams. In my team calculations, all of these teams' combinations perform similarly, but there are some considerations to be made. I want to reiterate how much of a poor fit Electro is in this scenario, as it's not only a matter of low raw damage, but also a synergy thing. For one, Fischl's Ascension 4 passive can't be generated through spread procs, as that doesn't count as an Electro reaction, so her damage output is severely limited by that. Secondarily, neither Yahe nor Fischl are as comfortable to use in terms of elemental skill and burst usage timings once you add a damage dealer such as Haitham into the mix, who in the case of these Quicken teams has a 12 seconds long field time. Shortening his field time would make them fit better, but that would cause his energy requirements to increase, and it's just not that worth to do if what you get in return is the damage increase for options that aren't performing greatly to begin with. What makes more sense, however, is running a third Dendro unit on the team, alongside an electro healer such as Kuki, to maximize the spread damage on the team and take advantage of a setup which favors Dendro damage output in general. Tighnari, in particular, is a great fit thanks to his combination of nice damage potential and low field requirements, which allows him to outdamage all electro sub-DPS in my calcs. Meanwhile, Dendro Traveler and Kale lag a bit behind, but are still nice options overall. Considering you're also lowering Haitham's YR requirements by adding another Dendro unit, what's not to love here? But now, let's get serious. Now it's time to finally explain the true advantage double Dendro has over other aggravate setups. You might feel like I'm stating the obvious here, but two Dendro units such as Haitham and Nahida on the same team generate a lot of Dendro application. What you might not know, however, is the potential of having that much application on the team. The answer is Quickbloom. By design, Quickbloom is a team that takes advantage of both Quicken and Hyperbloom when it comes to damage dealing. However, running this type of team isn't always possible, for a main reason. In some Hyperbloom teams you just have too much Hydro application, or too little Dendro application, which causes the Dendro application to disappear altogether from the target until your Dendro unit reapplies it, making it even harder for you to apply Quicken again. Without getting too much into elemental gauge theory, you need a considerable amount of Dendro application, while also having relatively smaller Hydro application on the team. Talking about real team setups, the Dendro option you want alongside Haitham is Nahida again, as she has pretty strong AoE Dendro application. Dendro Traveler could also be fine, but it's unclear at the moment. As the Hydro option you want one between Yelan and Kokomi, since they have solid Hydro application while not having too much, unlike somebody like Xingqiu, which could disrupt Quicken to a larger extent. Unironically, Yelan at Constellation 2 might also be bad in that regard. As the Electro option, either Kuki or Raiden fully built with EM to proc Hyperblooms is fine. The result is that you're getting all the explosive power of Hyperbloom, while maintaining potentially all of the Quicken uptime. These types of teams rank much higher than traditional spread compositions, and as I said earlier, they feel like the true way to take advantage of running multiple Dendro units on the same team. I'm done for today. I could have gone more in depth regarding calculations for these teams, info about rotations and more, but since we're still at an early beta stage and everything could change, I felt like just providing general info to give you an idea of what could be good was more appropriate. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.